Good evening and Salam Malaysia Madani. You're watching News at 10. I'm Mohani Priya. Making the headlines tonight, Formula 4 special grant to Sabah and Sarawak is being finalised. Malaysia and Singapore set to sign a deal on digital and green economy. The formula for the special annual grant to Sarawak and Sabah under Article 112D of the Federal Constitution is still being finalised, according to Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof. He said the views of all parties would be taken into account in determining the formula, including the views of Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg.
Premier mengatakan bahawa formulanya ialah kalau negara kita dalam ekonominya baik, kedudukan kewangan baik, maka ianya lebihlah. Kalau Premier mengatakan bahawa kalau senang sama-sama senang, susah sama-sama susah. Jadi itu prinsip yang kita Sarawak perjuangkan.
He said this to reporters after handing over donations to the Tionghoa community in Kuching today. Yesterday, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the federal government agreed to increase the special grant to Sarawak as provided for in Article 112D of the Federal Constitution to 300 million ringgit. Datuk Seri Anwar said the amount was only for the initial stage before a specific formula was announced by the federal and Sarawak governments. Border posts and the immigration, customs, quarantine and security complexes along the Malaysia-Indonesia border will be improved with upgraded facilities and roads as the construction of Nusantara has intensified. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof said this was one of the topics covered at yesterday's Malaysia Agreement 1963 Implementation Action Council meeting, which was chaired by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. According to him, areas along the border posts and ICQs complexes, including the roads, would be upgraded and developed as Kalimantan is built into Indonesia's new capital city.
Premier juga telah menyuarakan untuk melihat terbedut. Sebab terbedut juga perlu dipertingkatkan CIQ-nya sebab Indonesia dah siap. Jadi jalan berhubungi dari terbedut ke Serian perlu juga dinaik taraf. Jadi ini salah satu fokus yang saya akan bawa.
Along with increasing the frequency of patrolling activities, he said military and police personnel assets at the posts will also be upgraded. Datuk Seri Fadilah also brought up the well-being of the security personnel on duty at the country's borders. Malaysia and Singapore are set to sign a Memorandum of Cooperation, MOC, in digital and green economy, the first for Putrajaya amid the growth potential in both sectors. Minister of International Trade and Industry, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said that digital trade is among the fastest growing trades and will surpass physical trade by 2025. Commenting further on the matter, the minister said the government hopes to conclude their first MOC in digital and green economy with Singapore, which will be witnessed by both countries' prime ministers soon. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim is scheduled to make his official first visit to the city-state at the end of January after an invitation from Singapore's Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong. Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul said the discussion with Singapore on the MOC in digital trade and green economy started last year and has been presented to the Cabinet, which has given its approval for it to be concluded soon. The MOC is following a framework of cooperation concluded by both countries in August 2022. The framework of cooperation in digital economy will facilitate intensified cooperation in wide-ranging areas, including trade facilitation, digital identities, standards, investment promotion and facilitation in digitalization, as well as digitalization of micro, small and medium enterprises. This will unlock a wider range of opportunities, benefiting businesses, workers and communities in both countries. Touch 'n Go has been told to take immediate action to overcome the confusion on the use of its newly launched Visa prepaid card. Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub said Touch 'n Go representatives have been told to improve their prepared information so consumers would get the necessary information regarding the use and functions of the card. On Wednesday, Touch 'n Go Group, via the Touch 'n Go e-wallet, launched the first corporate social responsibility-linked Visa prepaid card in Malaysia, offering all the services equivalent to an alternative bank to all e-wallet users for free. However, some netizens were unhappy over the reasons behind the new card, which would have an annual fee of RM8 and RM1.40 charge for every ATM transaction. A special team has been tasked to identify matters concerning these issues.
Ada perkara-perkara yang kita minta serta-merta diselesaikan. Jadi kita akan tengok developmentnya minggu depan setelah kita minta laporan itu dan laporan itu kita dapat teliti. Kalau tidak, pasukan FAS ini akan mengambil tindakan.
Met in Johor Bahru today, Datuk Sri Salahuddin said the special team will be led by his ministry's Secretary-General, tasked to implement a post-mortem on these issues more thoroughly and to resolve them in the near future. He suggested Touch 'n Go use the pop-up notice as a notification to users rather than just providing information through the normal FAQ sheets. Police have started investigations following a claim by Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim's daughter, Nurul Ilham, that she was a victim of a road bully case at kilometre 307 of the North-South Expressway while heading to Seremban. Serdang Police Chief Assistant Commissioner A. Anbalagan said a 14-second video clip of the incident was shared by Nurul Ilham on her Twitter account that later went viral, showing a Proton Iris car driven on the right lane, moving slowly and continued pressing on the brakes several times on the same lane. According to initial investigations, the incident involved an accident and injury suffered by both parties. ACP Anbalagan noted that both drivers, including Nurul Ilham, were called up to record their statements while the case was investigated under Section 6, Subsection 2 of the Road Traffic Rules 166/1959 for an offence of overtaking and obstructing traffic. He further urged members of the public with information about the incident to contact the Traffic Department of the Serdang Police Station to assist investigations. Earlier, Nurul Ilham, through her Twitter account, claimed that she was a victim of road bullying while she was driving with her 2-year-old child. Still ahead, food operators urged to lower prices following cheaper raw ingredients. But first, Human Resources Minister V. Sivakumar says the government will study the need to expand employment approval for foreign workers to other sectors 3 months after the Foreign Workers Employment Relaxation Plan is implemented. Elaborating further, the minister said the plan currently covers manufacturing, construction, plantations, agriculture and services sectors and subsectors. He said the ministry, together with the Ministry of Home Affairs, has decided to bring in foreign workers for these 5 critical sectors first, as they have high labour needs. After 3 months, and once the issue of shortage of foreign workers in critical sectors and subsectors are rectified, both ministries will consider to expand the employment approval plan to the retail sector and others. On Wednesday, Sivakumar announced that a total of 500,000 foreign workers would be brought into the country in stages via the Foreign Workers Employment Relaxation Plan, which aims to address the shortage of manpower in the industry. Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail was reported as saying that the plan allowed employers to hire foreign workers from 15 source countries without having to meet quota requirements and employment eligibility prerequisites. The supply of chicken and eggs will return to normal and will be sufficient for the local market from this month. The Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, MAFS, said this was assured by the Federation of Livestock Farmers Association of Malaysia, FLFAM, at the meeting between the Ministry and the Federation on 19th January. MAFS said the meeting was attended by Minister Mohammad Sabu, Ministry Secretary General Datuk Lokman Hakim Ali, senior ministry officials and FLFAM representatives led by its President Tan Chi Hee. The aim of the meeting was to discuss the FLFAM memorandum in relation to issues affecting the sustainability and competitiveness of the poultry industry, in particular chicken and eggs. Among the issues raised are price controls, which are causing losses to farmers in the long term as production costs continue to rise, while other issues include the need to increase productivity through closed farming systems, cash flow issues for farmers, projection of chicken and egg supply, and production costs. According to MAFS, FLFAM also thanked the government for its efforts in finding a balanced solution to the problems faced by consumers and the industry following various challenges in the food supply chain worldwide. The statement also read that the ministry will continue to engage with industry players to ensure that the chicken and egg industry remains sustainable so that there is always sufficient food to meet the people's needs. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli has denounced the attitude of certain restaurant and food stall operators who still refuse to lower their prices despite the falling cost of raw ingredients. Rafizi said it is vital for these businesses to cooperate in bringing down their prices in line with those of the ingredients in order to help improve the people's spending power and ease their financial burden. Rafizi, who is also PKR Deputy President, was speaking to reporters after officiating the Terengganu PKR election convention at Taman Tamadun Islam today. He said consumers also should be more proactive in response to changes in the prices of goods by avoiding restaurants and other food outlets that offer food and beverages at unreasonable prices.
Tapi orang ramai dan peniaga juga ada peranan masing-masing. Kalau contohnya kekerapan kita membeli daripada restoran yang sama walaupun kita tahu harga dia tak turun ni, sedangkan harga lain ayam pun dah turun, minyak pun dah turun, tapi harga dia tetap yang sama. Kalau ada kedai lain yang berdekatan yang lebih murah dan kita tukar, kerana dengan cara itu bila pengguna bertindak balas kepada perubahan harga dengan lebih cepat, yang itu cara terbaik untuk kita mempengaruhi keputusan peniaga-peniaga terutamanya yang restoran semua ni, untuk kalau dah turun dia kena turunkan sikit lah.
On another note, Rafizi said informal discussions on state elections have been held between PKR and UMNO at the state level, including Terengganu. Rafizi, however, said the discussions were mainly a familiarization process between the leadership of the two parties and did not involve any decisions or principles regarding the state elections.
Di Terengganu pun saya tahu saudara Nik pun memang dah jumpa dengan Datuk Ahmad Said semualah. Tapi yang rasmi yang kita harap dapat menetapkan parameters dan prinsip tu, itu belum berlaku lagi.
The PKR Deputy President further noted that the decision on state elections, including seat distribution and the use of party logos, will be formally discussed by the leaders of both parties at the central level. possibility of a big COVID-19 rebound in China over the next 2 or 3 months is remote, as 80% of people have been infected, according to a prominent government scientist, Wu Zunyou. Unlikely in the near term. Hundreds of millions of Chinese are travelling across the country for holiday reunions that had been suspended under recently eased COVID curbs, raising fears of fresh outbreaks in rural areas less equipped to manage large outbreaks. A National Health Commission official said on Thursday that China has passed the peaks that are spreading across the country. In the capital, Lima, police officers used tear gas to repel demonstrators throwing glass bottles and stones as fires burned in the streets. Interior Ministry said in a statement that some 1,500 protesters attacked a police station in the town of Ilave in the country's southern Punio region. Health authorities in Ilave reported 8 patients hospitalized with injuries, while at least 58 people had been injured nationwide in demonstrations. The unrest followed a day of turmoil on Thursday when one of Lima's most historic buildings burnt to the ground as President Dina Boluarte vowed to get tougher on vandals. The destruction of the building, a near-century-old mansion in central Lima, was described by officials as the loss of a monumental asset. Protests have rocked Peru since President Pedro Castillo was ousted in December after he attempted to dissolve the legislature to prevent an impeachment vote. But Boluarte has dismissed calls for her to resign and hold snap elections, instead calling for dialogue and promising to punish those involved in the unrest. Fighting in Ukraine has slowed to a grinding slog with limited advances by either side and heavy casualties suffered for small territorial gains. With Russian forces hardening their defences, making it more difficult for Kiev's troops to gain ground, Ukraine's international supporters aim to help change the equation with the provision of armoured vehicles that would aid new offensive operations. Kiev has welcomed pledges of further equipment, but is still pushing the countries backing its fight against Russia's invasion to follow Britain in agreeing to provide heavy Western tanks. U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for Policy Colin Kahl said advances are currently measured in city blocks or hundreds of meters, and that the aim is to enable Ukraine to change that dynamic with these kind of static defenses by being able to fire and maneuver through the use of more mechanized forces. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin indicated on Friday that Ukraine was planning a new offensive by spring, and the United States and other countries have said they will give Kiev a large number of armored vehicles that could play an important role in new advances. Now, the number of employees at Twitter has decreased by about 80% since US entrepreneur Elon Musk's multi-billion-dollar acquisition. Before Musk finalized the $44 billion acquisition of Twitter in late October 2022, the San Francisco-based company had about 7,500 employees. However, that number has gone down to approximately 1,300 active workers. Twitter now has fewer than 550 full-time engineers, and the trust and safety team includes fewer than 20 full-time employees. The company also has around 1,400 non-working employees who are still being paid. In addition, about 75 of the company's 1,300 workers are on leave, including 40 engineers. Musk has changed the company's day-to-day operations, including the termination of Twitter executives who were responsible for the platform's privacy, cybersecurity, and censorship. In December, the New York Times reported that Twitter had stopped paying rent for office space for several weeks to cut costs.
Salam sejahtera dan salam perpaduan. Saya Hannah Yo mengucapkan selamat menyambut Tahun Baru Cina kepada masyarakat Cina yang meraihkannya serta rakyat Malaysia keseluruhannya. Generasi muda yang bijak, sihat dan berwawasan adalah aset negara. Saya dan warga Kementerian Belia dan Sukan akan terus memperkasa anak muda, meningkatkan kualiti kesejahteraan, mencipta peluang pekerjaan dan memperkasa tadbir urus untuk membangunkan belia serta sukan negara. Pada masa sama, penting bagi kita untuk terus berwaspada kepada ancaman COVID-19. Selamat Tahun Baru Cina, Gong Xi Fa Cai, Wan Shi Ru Yi.
National professional men's singles shuttler Li Zijia and reigning men's doubles world champions Aaron Chia and Su Wuyik are among the players to represent Malaysia for the Badminton Asia Mixed Team Championships in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. The Badminton Association of Malaysia, BAM, in a statement said other men's shuttlers to be fielded include 2 national team players, Leong Junhao and Chen Tangji, followed by 3 experienced professional shuttlers, Ong Yu Sin, Teo Yi Yi and Tan Kiang Ming. The BAM will also field 4 bronze medal winning teams in the previous Badminton Asia Championships held in Shah Alam last year, comprising national top duo Pearly Tan and Tina, as well as Goh Pei Ki and Teo Mei Sing in the women's squad. Youth Olympics gold medalist Goh Jin Wei, newcomer Wong Ling Ching, Lai Pei Jing and To Yi Wei will complete the women's team for the tournament in Dubai. Malaysia has never won the competition since it was first held in Hanoi, Vietnam in 2017. The national team were eliminated in the quarterfinals for 2017 and 2019. Meanwhile, members of the public are urged to keep calm and put more trust in national men's singles professional ace Li Zijia. Badminton Association of Malaysia, BAM Singles Coaching Director Wong Chun Han said Zijia may be sailing through rough seas at the moment, but believe that he needs time to prove himself. Despite having left BAM a year ago, Chung Han felt that it was still too early to judge the current world number 2 move, as he might be finding his feet as an independent shuttler.
Saya rasa ini memang dia masih di lantasan profesional dalam satu jangka masa yang masih pendek dan awal lah. Masih ada time dicari rentak jugalah. Jadi saya rasa perlulah kita berikan kepercayaan lah kepada apa yang dia decide lah. Ya kan, kalau waktu nanti sampai dia sudah cukup cuba, dia akan sendiri tahu dan dia akan mungkin ada rezeki yang lebih bagus kemudian. So kita belum nampak lagi kan. Karena kalau ada result, kena perlukan waktu untuk provekan lah.
The 24-year-old player has come under fire as he failed to clear back-to-back early round exits at the 2023 Malaysia Open, followed by 2023 India Open. Chung Han hoped that the 2021 All-England champion will fine-tune on some of the key areas and eventually play much better than the current performance. And in tennis, Andrei Rublev surged into a last 16 clash with Holger Rune at the Australian Open and thanked opponent Dan Evans for giving him extra energy by donating a banana mid-match. The Russian crushed the Briton 6-4, 6-2, 6-3 on Margaret Court Arena to make the tournament 4th round for a 3rd time. The loss of Nick Kyrgios to injury robbed the Australian Open of one of its biggest draw cards. But it has been a blessing in disguise for Alex de Minaur as fans rally around the home favourite. The Australian number 2 soaked up the cheers of the Rod Laver Arena crowd as he booked his place in the last 16 with a 7-6, 6-2, 6-1 win over Benjamin Bonzi. Gritty. And that concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story today, Formula 4 special grant to Sabah and Sarawak is being finalised. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. We at RTM are sending you wishes of health, wealth and wisdom in the Lunar New Year. I'm Mohana Priya. Have a great holiday.